Kingdom people, they hate that you got away. They hate that you got away. And so, kingdom people, there are some that you have removed yourself from, you're walked away from, you're severed ties, and they're hating that you got away. And a lot of the reason why they hate that you got away is because what they were attempting to do to you can't be done if you have gotten away. And so even though once you walked away, once you removed yourself from their physical presence and you removed yourself emotionally, in other words, you have no emotional attachments to these people anymore, they really can't affect you at all. And so the way they were able to affect you before, and I'll say somewhat minimally, but it could be quite a bit, the way they were able to do it before is because you had physical, you shared physical spaces with them, even if you just dealt with them in a way where you weren't always around them, but you dealt with them. And or you had emotional attachments to them. It could have been a friendship, some kind of a romantic relationship. It could have been family. And when you detach yourself physically and emotionally, it's nothing really that they can do to you, because the way people are able to infiltrate your life, so to speak, is from that emotional attachment, first of all. Yet, if you're around them, they're able to kind of keep tabs on you through those ties, through those physical ties, yes, and emotional ties too as well. But because there's none of that, there is nothing they can do. So they can't stop you. They can't hinder you. They can't sabotage you. It's nothing they could do to you. And this is all because you got away. So they hate that you got away. And so a lot of these people, kingdom people, they were actually trying to keep you under their thumb. In other words, they were trying to keep you at a certain place. They didn't want you to grow, progress. In fact, they were using your energy. They were kind of benefiting off of your anointing for their own lives. Some of these people were thriving off of your anointing, or they were just making some progress. You know, doors were opening for them. Ways were being made for them. And they were using your energy to be able to occupy these spaces and, just, move the way they were moving, because they were feeding off of you. But with you no longer being around, they can't do that. They tried to, once you got away, they tried to do it emotionally through you, because people try to pull on your emotional strings and they try to stay tied to you through that emotional cord. And when you detach, they can't even do that, because when you come to a place where you feel nothing for them, they can't pull from your emotions. They can't pull from whatever attachment they feel that you had with them. When it's no longer there, there's nothing to pull from. And so these people hate that you got away because they can't pull from that. So, kingdom people, I want to go back to the ones who were trying to keep you at a certain place. They were trying to keep you from moving forward. These people hate that you got away because now that you got away, you're thriving. So the very thing they were trying to do, which is keep you at a certain place, keep you from really, tapping into walking in what God has called you to, they can't keep you from that. That in particular is what these people in particular jobs were. Now, a lot of this happens with family, because as many of us have learned, and we know at this point, and if you don't know, here it is. Most of us have deities that are attached to our bloodline. And their job is to keep us from prospering. Their job is to keep us in certain curses, so to speak, to like poverty even. And there are people in your family who have taken on that responsibility. This happens by way of usually the witches in your family, even warlocks. And so their job is to just keep everybody at a certain place. I'm hearing stand still. That's literally what I'm hearing. So we'll go with stand still. And this just means people are only allowed to go so far. They're not actually allowed to prosper. And when I say prosper, I mean prosper in God's purpose for your lives, for their lives. That's their job. Now, what has happened is you broke free. You got away. So what's happening, because you broke free and got away, you're tapping into what it is God has for you. You are walking into God's purpose. You are walking out God's purpose for your life. And so they hate that you got away because when you were around, they were able to affect you in some way, keep you from prospering, which is why God calls you to remove yourself from them. I know for me personally, prior to God having me to separate from my family, I started seeing things. Now, God was doing some things in me. The thing that he was moving in me to step into, it was boiling up in me. I was in my own space. Now, man, I don't live in a where my family lives. Let's just say it like that. I'm in a whole nother state. God moved me to another state for the very purpose of getting away from my family. Now, although I moved away from them, I was still having some dealings with them. Now, right before God moved me to separate totally, I mean, he did it like little piece by piece, person by person, particularly with those that I were more involved with. And so every year he would have me cut off another one, or, two, should I say. Well, the first year was 2, another year was another one, and then the last year was, the main one that I was involved with. And so what happened is, kingdom people, as this thing was rolling up in me, it was becoming evident to them that God was doing something in me. I was getting ready to bust out, so to speak, into what God was calling me to. What happened is they started lashing out. They started doing certain things. I started noticing certain things with them, and it made me pay attention. And God was showing me why they were behaving that way. And so eventually, of course, I had to just move around, because God's will be done. And I don't want to personally be around people that's what they own and that's how they feeling. Anybody that don't want the best for me, don't want me to be who God called me to be, I don't want no dealings with them. So anyway, that's that. So, okay, they hate that I got away, because they can't not only monitor me like they were, because I was around them, but they can't do whatever, tricks and spells they were attempting to do to stop me. Now, think about it this way, kingdom people. Obviously, they weren't stopping me, because God was still doing that work in me. Now, again, I don't live around these people, so I've been putting in the work for quite some time. God reminded me of how for years I've been on a certain journey. I've been seeking. I've been healing. I've been just seeking out information. God been doing some things in me. They don't necessarily know that, because I'm not necessarily sharing with them what I'm learning and what I'm, I knew I was internally growing. But as I said, it started to show itself. They started to see it, and there were some attacks. Even though some of them were very underhanded, I could still see it for what it was. This is what God brought to my attention this morning. He brought to my attention how I have another relative who was sharing something with me some years ago. And it's about like in 2019, actually. And they were sharing something with me about what they were noticing with these couple of witches in their family, because I don't consider myself to be in their family per se anymore. Yes, I was born in that family, but things are totally different. I don't even see things the same anymore. But this is something that this person was sharing with me. And what God brought to my attention to this morning as he was talking to me about this, he was showing me, because this person, what they were describing to me, what they saw and what they noticed when these people were in their house, when they would come in their house. What God was showing me is that a movement that they were doing, and even bending down And what God said to me, he said they were planting things there. They were planting witchcraft in their house. Now, this is something that God just pointed out to me today, based on what this person told me in 2019. Now, when they told me this, I knew back then that they was up to no good, because even when God shared that with me, God moved me. When they shared this with me, God moved me to share with them what God had been revealing to me about them that same year, based on some experiences I had with them. And I told them where God have shown me that they dabble in witchcraft. And this person said to me, no, this ain't dabbling. They not dabbling. So what this person was basically saying was, oh, they full blown. Well, again, God brought to me this morning, they were planning witchcraft in their home. Now, God also reminded me of one of those witches had gave me some clothes one day. They just handed me this bag. They didn't even say anything. They just handed it to me. Of course, eventually when I checked it, it was an outfit, a pants and shirt outfit, and a skirt. Now, the pants and shirt outfit, it was cute. And I had worn it actually a couple of times. And one day, this was a separate incident. This person was riding with me. I picked them up for us to go somewhere. And later I discovered their footies they had left, those fuzzy socks like they had left in the car. So I let them know, oh, you left your socks. Now by this time I'm back home in my own state. And they said, oh, just keep them. Keep them for yourself. So, okay, whatever. But it was something to that was off to me. God had not quite revealed to me yet that they were fully what it was going on, that they were witches. I just knew it was something off with them. But when they said, Lee, keep those hoodies, I knew something was off. It just didn't sit right in my spirit. Of course, later God ended up telling me, throw away those clothes and those footies. They have witchcraft on those, because this is what they do. They plant things on you, plant things to whatever they're trying to do. And so what God brought back to my attention is this other person I was just sharing with you all, and how they told me some things that they were experiencing with them when we both came to the realization, oh, they're into witchcraft. And of course I know now that's because they're witches. So what God was reminding me of is how you can have things going on with you because of the witchcraft that these people do towards you. Now, in my case, because I'm in a whole nother state, this person would try to give me things to, so I could have those items. So whatever witchcraft they put on them could affect me in whatever way they were trying to affect me. So, of course, I don't have any of those items anymore. But here's the thing. What God was showing me about this particular individual, now, I don't know really, but I'm pretty sure that they still have dealings with these people, because this is a person who is so caught up on family, and they want their children to know family and have family. And I get it. But when somebody is really literally, they're trying to disturb you, and they're affecting you in a negative way, that's where you have to draw the line. But you have to be in a place too where you feel like that's where you have to draw the line. Furthermore, you have to be strong enough and have your dependence on God so that you can do that. When your dependence is on the same people that are trying to hinder you and even affect you in a negative way, when your dependence is on them, that's a problem, because you're ultimately dependent on your abusers. Anyhow, God was showing me how this person has a lot of things going on with them. Now, they have their own stuff they need to heal and overcome just because of on their own. Y'all know how it is. But these people have been doing things towards them, including whatever they were trying to plant in their home, even to cause disruption in their marriage. And who knows if they're trying to affect their children. In fact, I do know that they have attempted that, but that's a whole nother story. But this is just how far these kind of people will go, because ultimately they're trying to not only just keep you down and keep you at a certain place, but they're literally trying to keep the curse riding on you. They're trying to implement that curse, and they want it to infiltrate not only you, but your children as well. And in their minds, hopefully their children's children. They're trying to keep that thing, in the bloodline. That's their job. That's the place that they hold, the position that they hold. And so God was just showing me how this person have a lot of emotional issues. And like I said, they already have them based on just what they went through. But here's the thing, just went through in their own life. They have things that they need to overcome. Who don't? But you can't really heal from them and overcome them when you have people there steadily trying to put more on you. Because how can you separate what's being put on you from what is already yours and you have to hear from? I learned that years ago. Just because I'm aware of myself, I know myself. When I would be going through things and working through things, I knew what was mine. But then I could feel other stuff and I'm like, wait a minute. It wasn't me. It was other people's stuff and other people trying to put stuff on me. So I was able, and sometimes I would just feel other people's stuff. And I still do that. But I know what's mine and what I need to work through. Now, God was just showing me how this person is having a tough time because so much is being put on them. And 9 times out of 10, they still letting these people in their home. And they're still dealing with them. And not even understanding these are the very same people that are keeping them where they are. And I'm just getting, again, they have a lot of emotional issues going on. They having stuff going on. I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to go too much into their stuff. I'm just going to stick it with them. But my point is, these people, these witches, listen, they don't come to play. They come to destroy. And so when you keep playing with them, their aim is to destroy. And if you keep allowing them in, and you're going through all these things and you can't even work through what you need to work through on your own, it's hard to even really get through to those things when here they are, just compounding. Because their purpose is to keep you from really working through what you need to work through in the first place. And so, listen, I said all that to say God brought all that to my attention because this person is still there. They're still able to affect this person. But what has happened is I got away. In fact, this person felt like I left them behind when I initially removed myself. But I had to remove myself from them too because of what they was on with me too. Stuff I started seeing with them. And of course, I wasn't having that. And so I just knew it was time for me to just bounce altogether. Now, it's up to this person to choose different. You know, first of all, they got to put their trust and dependency on God, change some of their ways, and let them people go. But they have to come to that. Yeah, it's nice to have family. It's good. It should be a beautiful thing. But even the scriptures say how your enemies will be those of your own household. In other words, it will be your family. It can be because everybody is not for Christ. And when you try to be, they're going to come against you. In fact, before you can even come to that, they're going to try to keep you from coming to that because they're too busy trying to keep you down, keep you emotionally jacked up. Let's just say it like it is. They want you to be so messed up that you don't know your left from your right. I did that wrong. Your right from your left. Kingdom people, they hate that you got away. They hate that you got away because they can't affect you. You don't have no emotional attachments. You don't have no physical attachments. You ain't got no attachments to these people. You pray for them. You pray they get their minds right. They give their lives to God. But that's it. And that's all. You keep on moving. You keep on stepping. And listen, kingdom people, you are done. You got away. And kingdom people, they hate that you got away because they cannot affect you. Kingdom people, they hate that you got away.